When I first started, we had Muay Thai, boxing and MMA. At the time, I wanted to produce mixed martial arts fighters. In the UFC, there were some of the best fighters kicking ass, taking names. Vanderlei Silva, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo. These guys were kicking the legs off people and just dominating. And I wanted to have a fair crack at putting some of Muay Thai fighters into the MMA cage. I only started with a really small group. Eventually we had a couple of Muay Thai fighters going to fight MMA and they did really well. Unfortunately the cage ban came in and that was kind of a dark period for us, kind of killed the dream. So we had to make the very hard decision to close MMA. Muay Thai, well, Muay Thai was naturally my background and something that I've grown up with. It only made sense to be able to coach those classes and teach people Muay Thai and the gifts that they've given me. And boxing. One thing for me that I really benefited from when I was fighting myself was having a boxing coach. Now, my father, who was my coach, never let me fight boxing because he was afraid that he might lose me to boxing purely. Now, I found that, boxing was becoming, like one of the big things for Muay Thai fighters. And if you didn't know how to box, you're in trouble. One of the biggest things for me as a boy was going along with my dad to the local pub to watch the big time pay-per-view fights. There was such an aura, and you had all these men in the pub watching, for example, Mike Tyson having that big world title fight, and absolutely loved it. Boxing was something that I've always been passionate about and something I've always loved, so it made sense to be able to have boxing as one of the classes, one of the skills that we teach here at Champions Gym. Strength conditioning is something that we brought in probably about 3 or 4 years after Champions Gym opened, because Whitney, who was fighting very often, she needed a way to have an edge on her opponents. So strength conditioning was a really good way for her to get stronger, faster, more fitter, and more conditioned mentally. So obviously for her own training, we ended up bringing into Champions Gym, very much a CrossFit style of strength conditioning. The thing that we found was we wanted to shy and move away from the CrossFit because the high reps, the high intensity was going to probably give people more likelihood of injury. And instead, we wanted the performance-based strength conditioning that was going to help people not only become stronger, fitter, faster, but more balanced and more agile. Since introducing strength and conditioning to Champions Gym, we've had some amazing coaches over the years. We've accumulated a wealth of knowledge from all the great coaches we've had, and the strength and conditioning that you see today is some of the best I've ever seen. It's constantly evolving, it's constantly getting better as we obviously working with great coaches that have great degrees and knowledge behind them to improve the programs and make it the best ever for not only our general members, but also our athletes as well.